My name is Clara, and I never thought I would have to deal with something so horrible from the man I once loved and his family. When I first met my husband, Nick, I thought he was the one. He was charming, funny, and seemed to have his life together. He was always there for me when I needed him, and I was happy to be there for him too. He told me he ran a very successful business and that he could take care of me and our future children. I was so in love. I blindly trusted his words. We were only dating for a few months when he proposed, and I said yes without hesitation. I was over the moon when we started our life together. We had a beautiful daughter named Allie, and I loved her more than anything. But as time went on, I began to realize that my husband wasn't the person I thought he was. He became lazy, unmotivated, and didn't want to contribute to our family in any meaningful way. It turned out that the business he was talking about belonged to his parents, and he was going to inherit it one day. They were clearly filthy rich, but money meant nothing to me if there was no care and love in the household. I was working full time while taking care of Ali and the house, while he spent all day watching TV and playing video games. I tried talking to him about it, but he didn't seem to care. He was content to let me do all the work while he did nothing and spent his parents' money on the most stupid things. It was exhausting and I was unhappy. I knew deep down that I couldn't continue living like this. I wanted more for myself and for Ali, so I made the difficult decision to get a divorce. My husband's wealthy family hired the best lawyers to ensure that he got custody of our daughter, despite my efforts to prove that I was the better parent. I was heartbroken when the judge ruled in his favor, but I knew that I had to accept the situation. It was tough, but I tried to stay positive and work hard to build a successful career. I knew that I couldn't give up on my dreams, and I wanted to show Ali that anything was possible. I made sure to stay in touch with Ali and see her as often as I could. It was difficult not to spend every day with her, but I cherished the moments we had together. We would go on trips, have movie nights, and make memories that would last a lifetime. Over time, I began to see the silver lining in the situation. My career was thriving, and I was able to provide a good life for myself and Ali. One day, my husband called me to tell me that he was planning on going on a vacation and that his parents would be taking care of Ali while he was away. I was hesitant at first, knowing how much I cherished the time I spent with my daughter. But my work schedule made it impossible for me to take care of her at that time. I reluctantly agreed, hoping that Ali would be okay without me there. I told him that I would visit Ali every week to make sure she was doing well and to spend time with her. He hung up the phone before even letting me finish my thoughts. I had a really bad feeling, but I didn't know what it was about. I told myself it was just foolish anxiety. Unfortunately, my gut feelings were right. Things took a turn for worse when I just couldn't contact Ali for a whole week after that phone call. I suspected that my ex-husband's parents might have taken Allie's phone away and completely blocked me out of her life. I tried contacting my ex-husband and his parents, but they never let me speak to Allie. Sometimes they would show me her back or let her say hi to me for just a few seconds. Then they would immediately take the phone away, leaving poor Allie in distress. Sometimes they didn't even spare the time to talk to me. Sarah, oh God, it's you again? Stop calling. Your daughter is doing great. And you're harassing us. Excuse me? No, I'm not. I just want to stop calling. Goodbye. And just like that, they would just hang up the phone without even letting me speak. As weeks went by, without directly talking to my daughter, I grew increasingly worried about Allie's well-being. I decided to take matters into my own hands and search for them everywhere. I reached out to friends and acquaintances, scoured social media, and even went to the police station. Unfortunately, no one could really help me because Allie was technically with her legal guardians. I felt so helpless and worried. But that was when I remembered something about Nick's parents' place. I went through all of our old messages and found out that Nick had once sent me a photo of his parents' mansion. They have recently moved to another state, so I have never been there. But I was almost certain that that's where they were keeping my daughter. I immediately hired a private detective just so he could find me the exact address of that mansion. It was challenging because that photo was from a long time ago, when the building had been under construction, but fortunately, my detective understood how important this was for me and promised me that he would find it as soon as possible. Days later, I finally got the address of the place. I asked for some days off work and drove all the way to where they lived. I was determined to see my daughter. When I got to the place, I was shocked and heartbroken to see how little my ex-husband's parents had cared for Allie during the time they had custody of her. When they handed her over to me, she was in dirty pajamas, and it was clear that she hadn't had a bath in weeks. They let her go so easily without any concern for her well-being or her emotional state. When Allie was home, I noticed even more alarming signs of their mistreatment of her. She had bruises all over her body, and she became unusually quiet. She couldn't speak to me, and she's always so scared of the smallest noise. But that was not even the worst part. She had developed a very strange habit of eating cardboard whenever it's time for dinner. She would refuse to eat the food I prepared and went straight to where I kept the boxes. I knew something was terribly wrong. It was clear that my ex-husband's parents had treated her poorly, and I was deeply concerned about her physical and emotional well-being. I tried to talk to Allie, but she was unable to communicate with me, and my heart broke for her. I knew that I had to confront my ex-husband's parents. After all, they were the ones who had the responsibility. I called Sarah, my ex-mother-in-law, but she was completely reckless. Sarah, hi. I'm calling because I noticed some bruises on Allie's body, and I just want to know if everything was okay. Oh, yeah, I noticed them too. But don't worry, kids get bruises all the time. I know that, but I just want to make sure that there wasn't anything more serious going on. You know, if you were still married to my son, you wouldn't have to worry about this. You should have stuck it out and made your marriage work. I'm sorry, but that's not what we are talking about right now. I just want to make sure that my child is safe and healthy. Well, I didn't notice anything out of the ordinary, so it's not my fault if something happened when she was with you. Why are you blaming me for this? Sarah, I am asking a question. I'm not blaming you for anything. My son was right to leave you. What a rude, annoying woman. Do not talk to me like that ever again. I hung up the phone right then, feeling like my chest was going to explode with anger. I knew I had to take action. So the next day, I took Allie to the police station and reported all of them for child abuse. I couldn't let this slide, and I was determined to do whatever it took to make sure Allie was safe and protected. I thought that when the authority was involved, things would slowly improve. But boy, was I wrong. I was completely shocked and blindsided when an inspector arrived at my door the next day. It turned out that my ex-husband's family had accused me of abusing Allie, trying to shift the blame onto me. I couldn't believe they would stoop so low to protect themselves instead of taking responsibility for what happened. To make matters worse, they lied to the police, telling them that I was a neglectful mother who didn't care about seeing my child. It was a complete and utter fabrication. As if that wasn't enough, my ex-husband's family took it even further by suing me. It felt like they were trying to punish me for trying to protect my daughter and hold them accountable for what had happened to her. It was a difficult and stressful time, but I refused to let them intimidate me or take away my rights as a mother. I agreed to go to court and hired the best lawyer there was in town. My career was going well at that point, so I could actually afford someone that could win the case. I knew that I had to prove to the judge that I had a strong and healthy relationship with Allie. I wanted to show that I was a loving and responsible mother who would do anything to protect and care for my daughter. I gathered all the photos I had of me and Allie spending time together, from vacations to quiet nights at home. The judge saw that I was a devoted mother who had always been there for Allie, and that I had a strong and loving relationship with her. Unfortunately, Allie was still so scared that she didn't want to speak to anyone. Whenever she saw her grandparents, the poor girl just wanted to go home. Of course, I would never force her to say anything just to win the case. I trusted that we would somehow find a way. My ex-husband and his family took advantage of the fact that Allie couldn't blame them for what they had done. They claimed that my statements were all false and attempted to provide their own photos with Allie. In these photos, Allie was always seen in the corner of the room, but they said that was because she was just a timid child. I was really angry with such a false statement about my joyful Allie. but I knew my lawyer could deal with their blatant lie. As I expected, my lawyer soon managed to point out early signs of abuse based on the look of Ali's skin, despite their best efforts to hide them. Seeing that their plan was not working, they started to show off their financial strength and told the judge that I could not afford to pay for Ali's expensive classes and hobbies. Then I suddenly remember something my private detective had told me about. He said that when he was investigating that family, he noticed how Ali spent a lot of time writing and drawing. I knew exactly what he was talking about. I bought Ali a small notebook on her birthday last year. How come I didn't think of this before? That night, I asked Ali to give the judge permission to look through her diary. She was hesitant, but it felt like she knew it was important. It turned out that all this time, whenever she felt stressed, she would write and draw in that diary about all the terrible things her dad and grandparents let happen to her. They would leave her to be alone all day, would not feed or bathe her, and would not treat her when she accidentally hurt herself while playing outside. Basically, they completely neglected her, to the point that whenever she's hungry, she had to chew cardboard for comfort. My heart broke into pieces when I saw what was in her diary. But I tried to stay strong because I knew this was all going to be over soon. And so, with such clear evidence, the judge could finally close the case. After a long and difficult battle, I was relieved and grateful to have been granted custody of my daughter. It was a weight off my shoulders to know that she would be safe and well cared for, and that I could finally put the stress behind me. As for my ex-husband's family, all three of them were eventually arrested and charged. I got back to work after a while, and luckily, Ali was having some major improvements. She has been so much happier, more talkative, and more positive. She takes art classes and creative writing classes now, and every day before class, she makes sure to hug me and tell me how much she loves me. She's just a little bundle of joy. And of course, we still have our regular movie nights and weekend trips that we both look forward to. I can't wait to watch her grow up to be an intelligent, beautiful, and kind-hearted woman.